Welcome to the ITM podcast.
This is episode 220 of the ITM podcast, the official Boston Red Sox podcast of the CLNS Media Network, brought to you by Game Time. Best place to buy tickets online, sports, concerts, all your favorite events, and also by Prize Picks, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of the CLNS Media Network. And the Boston Red Sox finally lose a series in the month of June. My name is Joey Copponi. That's Scott Neville. Scott, what's up, dude?
It's just it's disappointing. Yeah, you go, forget the blowouts and the fact that it's just, I'm purely looking at standings and more just record over 500. And as we've talked about, that you started and I jumped on, as you like to make very clear, this 8 over 500 number is very much in my brain.
Yep.
And it felt like we were between Toronto was likely at some point, and then you should have definitely got it by now. And now we're kind of going backwards. It's just like, I was close to fully closing the door on selling, and now I'm still like, that's still in my head, where it's like, I'm envisioning two paths, and I'm still like, I could totally see us getting to a point where it's Pivetta, O'Neill, Kenley, Chris Martin out the door, and I can also see us adding, but that's a much more clear path for me still.
I mean, it feels like we are so close to, the trade deadline. We kind of are, and it feels like you have a clear picture of what the team is. You just have to look back 1 year or 2 years. This has been a trio of identical seasons. Mm-hmm. And there were times where they were high over 500. We talked about it last week that, there were times they were 8 over, times they were 9 over. So yeah, it's not an end all be all, even if they hit that number. But I will say this right now, Scott, 5 over. And how far away is 5 from 8 real quick?
Hold on, let me get a calculator.
Yeah, no, get a calc. For anybody new, a calc is short for calculator. It's just slang.
I got this many.
3?
Yep.
All right, 3. How many? Can you check how many games they're about to play against the Miami literal Marlins?
Oh God. Okay, I can try.
Yeah, just
schedule.
I think they have it on the website, bostonredsox.com, I think is what it is.
1, 2, 3.
3. Oh, shit. Okay.
Oh, whoa.
Fuck. Okay, so if they win all those games against the Marlins, they're 8 over.
We just kind of ran into that one. Didn't even know. I don't think you even knew where you were going to start that. We just kind of got lucky.
Listen, my grandfather used to always say this, Scott. This is a quote I'll never forget. When you explore, you wander into what you needed to find. And he used to say that all the time. He still does.
Yeah.
He's still alive.
Okay, that was kind of misleading in a lot of ways. Okay.
He's still around, but he says it less now, but he used to say it all the time.
I don't know. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They're 30-53, but they're 6-4 in the last 10.
They're 30-53.
Yeah.
The Miami Marlins are a dog shit team. But
fair to call them a sweepable team?
They're a very sweepable team. They're an incredibly sweepable team. And you'll see that in the pitching preview. And when we look forward to that whole series, their pitching is just woo! It's abysmal.
They're dealing with some injuries. They're dealing with some injuries on the pitching front.
I would imagine so. There are a handful of fellas who you've never heard of, I've never heard of, and have made, there are 2 guys who have made a combined 3 major league starts that the Red Sox are going to face in that series.
Yeah, so, I mean, the guys that are hurt right now are all the guys that people in Red Sox fandom that are unrealistic with their trade scenarios have been pitching to us for many, many years. Looking at you, Jesus Luzardo.
Mm-hmm.
Sandy's been down for quite a bit, but even like Braxton, Garrett, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, you can make a whole argument there about, pitching staff, coaching staffs, usage, deployment, mechanics, all that stuff. You can make a million arguments there that guys get hurt in certain
The game has changed.
The game has changed.
They throw harder.
And the pitch clock. Don't get me started, Scott. Let's talk about the Padres series. Sox lost this series, And, for a minute there, I thought
Mhm.
our prediction, I'm so bright. I thought our prediction there was going to be correct again. Because we, in the prior series, who even was that? 2 series ago? The Jays?
Jays was last series.
Yeah. We nailed that. We nailed exactly how that series was going to go. I thought this was going to be the same thing. We were talking about a sweep, but if they lose one, it's going to be Friday.
That one had the rain out. The Reds one, we got there was 3 games, and we got all 3 of them right.
Yes. I thought this was going to be the same kind of deal because I remember we said sweepable, but the Sox might lose on Friday. If they lose one, it's going to be on Friday.
Yeah.
And
we did lose on Friday.
Yeah. And they almost swept the other 2.
So we had a ton of momentum. We had a ton of momentum going into Saturday.
Yeah.
Because they lost the shit out of that game on Friday.
Yeah, they
did. We had so much momentum, and then Houck said, "Hey, watch this. This is going to be the worst I've ever pitched in the big leagues."
Tanner Houck. Let's talk about
it. Does Tanner Houck suck?
I'm gonna say no. Just because he's made 16 starts, 15 of them very good, 1 of them bad. So I'm gonna go ahead and say
they're going to do that. Certain networks are going to go with that headline. Does Tanner Houck suck now? 8 earned run? Get the hell out of here. He's never going to be a real ace. I remember when Pedro Martinez pitched. Did you ever remember him giving up 8 earned runs? I don't.
I don't think so.
I've always said he's never been a real ace.
I'm sorry. Has BREF not updated the Saturday game?
That can't be true.
Sunday evening? Look at Tanner Houck's game log.
Is it 2.67 ERA? Because that's what it is now.
No, it still has him at a 2.18.
Oh.
What the hell are we doing?
I hope that's not true for league-wide, because I wrote an article today that would be not right based on Andrew Benintendi. I actually wrote about today.
Well, why would you be doing that?
Because the White Sox are looking to trade him, according to Bob Nightingale, and I was like, oh, little update on how that's going. And I just want to inform the Red Sox fans. I didn't do could the Red Sox trade for nothing like that. It was just purely hey, just checking in on our old buddy Andrew. It's going really, really, really bad. If you guys haven't been paying attention, so you're right. They haven't updated it.
Yeah, that's very strange.
Or they gave him a mulligan.
They might have given him a mulligan, the old high-low.
Because that's what I would have gone by. I certainly would have used it after that game.
If I know we did this last week, where we just we talked about a visual medium, but again, if you want to go look at the pitch map from Tanner Houck's start, control was a crazy issue. He did not have control of the slider whatsoever. It was all over the place. It was either a foot outside or right down the pipe. 48 pitches outside of the zone. Just had no control. Just lost it one day. He's a very good hitter, or very good pitcher, very good player. Just simply didn't have it. I think this is just a moment where everybody has off days. I will say probably the worst timing for him personally, though. One, it's on his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Sucks. But
birthday
also
of his Cy Young caliber season.
And also, it's the penultimate start to the first half. So, the second to last one before his
you're right.
All-Star campaign comes to an end.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if that 2.67 still leads AL starters. I would imagine it does not, but he was at the top with the 2.18, which was really his best case because we talked about, the star power not being on his side, and if he was going to be the starter for the AL side, that he was going to have to blow the competition out of the water. He's going to have to blow the competition. And he didn't want to have to do that.
Right.
But, if he's tight like neck and neck with somebody, I don't like his chances of
So
getting it.
he's, who leads I mean, if you go by ERA, and he
Yeah.
does have the innings and the strike and kind of and the strikeouts. If we're going to go completely unbiased, the answer is Seth Lugo from the
The
Kansas
answer
City
is
Royals.
Seth Lugo.
And Tanner Houck is now sixth in ERA. I mean, Seth Lugo has a half a run lower ERA now at 2.17. He has 9 more innings. Granted, he has another start. He has the same amount of strikeouts.
Yeah.
A .01 higher whip. Yeah, it's. I mean, Seth Lugo is just, as we've always said, a better version of Tanner Houck.
We've always said that. That's insane. This top 10 is insane.
I think they might give it to Screwball based on this list because he seems to have the heat. Like, he seems to have the momentum. He's the next guy. Like, everyone's talking about him. Tariq Screwball.
I mean, if
Corbin
it's not
Burns is
Corbin
the
Burns, why
pedigree
wouldn't it
guy.
be Corbin Burns?
It just feels like Tariq Screwball has more helium. I feel like they wanna go with who's being talked about, who's getting the mentions, who's getting the clicks on Pitching Ninja, and I feel like that's him right now. But you're right, Corbin Burns is, I mean, absolutely that guy. He's definitely the biggest name value on this list. Blanco doesn't have the innings.
This is an insane top 10 list of
Maybe
top 10
neither does
AL
Screwball.
pitchers right now by ERA are Seth Lugo, Corbin Burns, Screwball, Blanco,
You
Tyler
added some Spanish
Anderson.
on that. That was
I did
racist.
just un poquito extra
Yeah.
español there.
We'll extra sauce on that one.
Salsa, see. Tyler Anderson, Tanner Houck, Logan Gilbert, Garrett Crochet, Brady Singer, Eric Fetty.
Brady Singer was supposed to be so good when he got drafted, and so it's cool to see that.
I guess.
He's
From
from
the National
Florida.
League, we got Ranger Suarez, Christopher
course.
Sanchez, Zach Wheeler, Gavin Stone, Chris Sale,
What a
Max
weird-
Fried, Sonny Gray, Jake Irvin, Imanaga, and Logan Webb.
Have starting pitchers lost their star power? Because what a bunch of randoms.
It makes absolutely no sense. It's just a bummer. I don't know. If there was ever a year it was going to happen, it would be this one where things are out of whack. Tanner Houck's been so hot. He just deserved better. That's all.
Can we talk about, I mean, we're not going to talk about it on this show for more than me just stating this, but the Phillies have the top 3 ERAs in the National League. Holy shit, dude. That's crazy.
They're so good. They're very good, dude. Sox beat them, though. People forget that. Not too long ago, the Sox beat them.
Yeah, twice. And Nola's down to 16. They have 4 of the top 16, including the top 3. Sorry. All right. We want to talk about our team again?
Do you think Steve thought at all about how the Red Sox got their dicks pounded in on June 28th? Do you think he was thinking about it?
Definitely, because I'm sure it's going to come up today for at least 15 minutes. There was one of them tweeted about it. I would assume Milliken, or I don't know. I saw somebody be like, "Hey, this is, I'm reminded of a day like today." So yeah, I doubt this is their first time all together. I can't imagine that won't be a large talking point for them.
Yeah. Had that been the day that Tanner Houck imploded, R.I.P. Steve.
Instead, it was the day Bayo imploded.
Pavetta,
that's what it was.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the Pavetta 7-run game. We've had a lot of implosions lately. Holy!
It was, for a while, it's been very tiered. Maybe not for a while, but at least for the month of June, it was pretty clearly tiered that it was Tanner Houck, Cutter Crawford,
Pavetta.
Nick Pavetta, Brian Bayo. And then whoever.
You would argue, I would actually go with any number 4 starter: Winkowski, Criswell, Whitlock, and then Bayo.
Yeah, and that middle space closing in a little bit. I don't know, Cutter, Pavetta, and hopefully this is just a one-off, but you don't want to see that gap close. I don't know. Not in that direction anyway, if you were to close it one
No.
way or the other.
Out of curiosity, do you want to take a stab at where our starting pitcher ERA is right now?
Oh, wow.
Just ranking, not. Oh, do that too.
391?
It is a 3.76, but we have now fallen down to 9th in the league when we were first for the first 2 months, pretty much.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Phillies still have a under
What are you gonna do?
sub 3 starting pitcher ERA. A lot of Phillies
Dude,
talk for me, but Jesus.
Another implosion, dude. If you want to talk about it, we can't talk about implosions and talk about this series without talking about Weissert in game 1 of this series. 4 runs in 1 inning. Brought his ERA up a full run from a 2.65 to a 3.60. It was 1 walk, 1 strikeout, a homer, 4 earned runs, 4 hits. Weird.
That was the 9-run inning, right?
No, he made it through that whole inning.
So, no, but that was 4 runs in that inning, correct?
4.
That wasn't the same inning. Didn't he come in for Pivetta? Like, Pivetta didn't record it out. It would be 1. It would come out as 1 inning. But didn't Pivetta? He started that, and they gave up 9 runs. Did he go
on
in
Friday?
Right
he allowed 4. Period. Was that right also him on Saturday?
Wait, this was Saturday. Oh, I don't even.
I'm talking Friday.
I'm talking about Friday as well. Pivetta came in, couldn't record an out in the 5th, and then I thought Weissert replaced him and kept the train moving for San Diego. But it's not going to show up on the box score because it's just going to say it's going to look like Pivetta pitched 4 innings, but because he didn't record an out.
I get what you're saying, dude. I get what you're saying now. You're saying, like, is that the inning where Pivetta had allowed 5 without getting an out?
And then Weissert gave up 4 more in that same inning.
Yes.
So we gave up 9 in an inning. On the box score, it doesn't look like that, but
yes, that was the 9-run 5th inning in game 1.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Okay, we're on the same page. It just took us a second there.
Took us an actual minute to get there, but yes, that was the 9-run inning. The 9 consecutive batters to reach. That was the fastest this game is over I've ever witnessed. I've witnessed quite a bit of baseball, Scott.
Yeah.
That is the fastest this game is over I've ever seen in my life. 3 minutes, maybe? 3 minutes. It went from, was it a 1-0 ball game? Sox up 1-0?
It happened so fast.
To down 9-0? 9-1?
Yeah, we had 1 right there. Yeah, we went from 1-0 to 9-1 real quick. But we tacked one on immediately to cut it down to 9-2 right after.
I mean, honestly, that's what people are going to be talking about, more than anything is Devers' solo homer in the 6th.
Yeah.
To get the Sox right back in it.
Yeah.
Couldn't get the job done, but that's the job of a leader,
It's one of those moments where as that ball's flying out the yard, the Padres are going, let's remember, there's no clock on this game, okay? We got to lock in here. All right, we're starting to slip away. I can feel the momentum shifting. This is at Fenway. And then I don't know what happened after that, but that was a good momentum switch for us. And it carried over to the next game too. Where we got the momentum back.
Right, yeah. Where the Sox stayed right in it again.
Yeah.
Dude, the 1-inning implosion is becoming quite the issue. I mean,
that's how we've lost pretty much every game. Last 3 games we've lost have been the 1-inning implosion.
Mm-hmm.
Bayo,
it happened
Pivetta,
to Bayo
Houck.
too. Yeah, happened to Bayo, happened to Houck, happened to Weissert, happened to Pivetta. I guess those are the same inning, but it's something to keep note of that this Red Sox team is capable of, that you can just look up and that 1-run ball game is now a 7-run ball game. It just happens. And nobody's safe from it. Not even your, like you said, Cy Young caliber, all-star game starting caliber starting pitcher, also capable of just giving you some poop.
Well, eloquently put.
Thank you, dude. You know what else is eloquently put?
This ad read you're about to play.
This ad read I'm about to play. It's game time. It is summertime, baby, and that means there is one show in town, and that is the Boston Red Sox. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Following the All-Star break, you want to go to Fenway, you want to take a little peek through first, you want to make sure that your seat isn't facing towards center field, that you got a good view, that you don't, have a pole right in your face, use the Game Time app. They got the view right from your seat. Never get a bad seat. Another thing I love about Game Time, the all-in pricing. Toggle that feature, shows the total right up front, no surprise fees once you get to checkout. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Just download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right. San Diego Padres came back to town, which means that Xander Bogaerts came back to town, which also means that Don Orsillo came back to town. First time for both of those guys coming back here, which is weird to think about. That's the first time the Padres have been at Fenway since Don Orsillo was so gracefully let go in 2015. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that doesn't feel right at all. Like even a little.
It is. The last time they were here was 2013.
That's insane. Has he done any like national games for us? I feel like he's called the Red Sox game before.
Yeah, I think he was here with Fox a couple years
But he might
ago.
not have been. Who knows if that was home?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was at Fenway. I'm not sure. This is first time here with the Padres, at least.
Yeah.
So that's different. First time the Padres have been here too, which just, I don't know, means something. Which means I was expecting a lot of San Diego Padres fans there. That's kind of the whole thing this year, the Fenway experience, blah, blah, blah. We can talk about it all year. We can talk about it with every series. But when a team hasn't been here in 11 years, you expect them to come out and fill the place. I don't know if they did.
Machado claims they did, but I didn't get that vibe.
You think Machado might have just been saying something inflammatory? You think this is a crazy idea, but like, do you think he might have just said something to like rile people up and piss people off or something? Does that seem like him?
You think he's a heel? Is that what you're trying to say? You think he's trying to lean into the villain role?
It might be something new that he's trying out. Yeah, like he's trying to see like especially in Boston, where like as far as I like, he's pretty liked. So maybe he's trying to be like, ooh, I'll try this villain thing on. Like, do you think he could be trying that?
I don't think he would step on other people's toes or Achilles or kneecaps, personally.
That was good, Scott. That was good. That was good. Don Orsillo coming back. Did you see the quotes? Because he sat down and he spoke with Sean McAdam. And great piece, great guy, Sean McAdam. A lot of people don't know this about Sean McAdam. Huge hockey guy. People forget. It's not that people don't know. People forget. He's like a big Bruins guy.
I didn't know where you were going with that, but
I'm trying to find the quote here. Give me a second, Scott.
Wholly unprepared. This guy.
Incredibly unprepared. I thought I would have the quote right up. But basically said, like, no, I'm not still a fan of the Boston Red Sox. No.
I was a little surprised by the quote you're about to read because it did feel a little... I get it. I think I'm glad how open he was about his hatred for John Henry, but I was a little surprised that he is, like, sick of the... Like, he was like, I don't care about this team anymore.
I got the quote here. This is from McAdam. Quote, and despite his long association with the Sox, he feels no divided loyalty whatsoever this weekend. Quote, I believe when you're fired from a team, you lose your allegiance to that team as far as caring whether they win or lose, he said. That was part of the deal. If I'm out, so are they. I can't be a fan of someone who's not a fan of mine. You're going to like someone who despises you or replaces you? I couldn't do it. My allegiance had to end, especially where I went to another franchise where I am invested. That fandom ended. Now my love for the Bruins, Celtics, and Patriots has not changed. They didn't fire me. End quote. I mean, it's so honest and it's awesome because you kind of knew it. Don is so active on Twitter. When Twitter likes were public, which, oh, God, so sad. So sad. Elon, what has happened? What has happened to our site? But that it was always great to see, like, oh, Don Orsillo liked this tweet, like shitting on the Red Sox, or shitting on NESN, like, ooh, it's kind of salacious that he went and did that. Now he'll just straight up quote tweet something that's like, Red Sox biggest mistake ever was letting Don Orsillo go, and he'll quote tweet it and be like, thanks, I appreciate the support. Like now it's like he needs to let people know. So it wasn't a surprise there, but it is like a quote outside of the PR fences.
Absolutely, and I'm just now realizing the way he should take this, because I feel like it's been a while. What I would love to see is if he if he directly would go after Dave O'Brien. I know it's not going to happen, but can you imagine if he just started like quote tweeting home run calls and was just like, "Wow, a lot of energy here," and just imagine just like subtweeting Dave O'Brien and just going after it, creating a rivalry between the two. Oh, that would be so.
That would
funny.
be maybe I'll make a Don Orsillo burner, or maybe somebody should, and start tweeting at Dave O'Brien. You think we could get OB to bite on a fake account?
I don't know that he gets very active on Twitter, but I could be wrong. Doesn't seem to be a guy.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't think he needs to go at him publicly because I think they actually hate each other behind closed doors.
Do you think Dave O'Brien hates Orsillo?
I mean,
did he? What do you mean? Well, explicar.
No, I'm gonna write that down, that timestamp, and I'm gonna bleep that actually, because I don't know if that's as public. I said it, I was like, I think somebody told me that. I don't think that everybody knows that. My bad. That. Okay, my bad. Well, now you know that, so there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. So no, I don't think they're a fan of each other. I think it is mutually. I can't believe that just like slipped like that. That's crazy. I'm glad this isn't a live show.
Yeah.
No, they're not fans of each other whatsoever. So I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I don't think they need to be public about it. I think it's like kind of known inside that they have their thing. The fact that NESN chose the people they did, stunning to me, to everybody. But here we are. Weird to get a TC game in Game 3 of this series. Weird when TC calls a game. It feels like I don't want this to come off wrong because I love Tom Caron and I want Tom back on this show. But it feels almost like putting out a lineup that's, without Devers or, without Cassis on, when he's healthy. It feels kind of like that. You know what I mean? Like they're like, oh, they didn't even get Dave out of bed today.
That is a shocking take by you, given your lack of appreciation for Dave O'Brien, and rightfully so. Because my only note from this series was I was surprised how much I liked having TC in the booth. Not surprised, but I was like, I guess I didn't know he was doing it today, and I was like, wow, this is actually I liked his energy more than Dave's. So I actually was the other way. Sure. I
don't mean that as like a slight at TC's work at all. I really like what he does, but it's like TC is somebody who's always in the building. You know what I mean? Like they always have TC around. He's like the face of NESN. We said that to him the last time he was on here. He's the face of NESN. So to put him in the booth it's like, yeah, like you always have him around. You know what I mean? It's like, it feels like a sick day. Rather than feeling like, some special occasion where it's like, oh, we got this guy. It's like,
well, it's absolutely, you're right. And you probably that from, the last I talked to Jemai at that rainout game, the last game against Toronto that went an inning, and we did talk about, because it was behind the scenes. I was told once there was going to be like a part-time sideline reporter, kind of like how like Jemai started last year, and it had to have been not true at all because that never came to fruition. It was somebody that works at NESN that I thought was going to get elevated. Whatever. We talked about that, and he's like, yeah, if I'm out, TC comes in, and then Pellerin moves to the desk, and so the shuffles around. And then they clearly, OB and Uke have both been talking about this extended break where they're clearly getting some time off here that started with the Friday night Apple game, and then they're giving them, it seems like a couple series off. So that is exactly what's happening, where it's a one guy's out and everyone else is just moving up the depth chart. But I liked it. I actually think our backup, our third string announcer, is better than our best one. I don't know where Monaco was. That's kind of weird, but
Monaco's not your backup. Monaco's not your backup. He's too good. He's gifted, man.
He's Tom Brady. Dave O'Brien is Drew Bledsoe. Technically, at one point, that was the backup situation. That was the quarterback room, and that's what we're doing.
But it's right like now. If Tom Brady also went and started a game for the Rams,
That's true too. He is doing work elsewhere, I suppose.
Yeah, it's like he's not your backup because he's winning a championship in the CFL or something.
Okay, yeah.
I changed my own analogy, but you know what I mean. I wouldn't be shocked if we never saw Monaco on NESN again.
I hate to hear that.
Yeah, that's not insider information or anything. That's just my gut. I feel like Monaco's price goes up day by day.
Yeah,
and they would have done it if they were going to do it. And then they announced OB's extension, and why would you just? I don't know. I would imagine to fly Monaco back here and whatever. It's probably not cheap because he's always on the road because he's always doing stuff. So I hope he finds a home. I love him enough to let him go, Mike Monaco.
I'd prefer to keep him.
Well, sure. I also would have preferred to keep my dog, but my dad told me we love him enough. We have to let him go. And we opened the sliding door to the porch and said our goodbyes.
What happened?
We loved our dog so much we let him go.
That can't be the true story.
That's what that phrase means, right? When you feel that feeling in your heart where you're like, oh, I think I actually love. No, I set him free. Dogs want to be free.
Did he want to be free forever? Without a home? Food?
Well, we let him out the day we moved, so I don't know.
You got any more topics?
The Xander tribute video, huh?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Let's do that instead.
The Xander tribute, it's a gross situation. I also hate talking about Mookie and Xander. Obviously, those conversations go hand in hand. But as I've said for a couple years now, the Xander one just feels worse because it was post Mookie, and the whole thing is that they were supposed to be able to keep Xander, because of the Mookie situation. And Xander always felt more Boston than Mookie felt.
Yeah.
Mookie was a superstar who was here, and it would have been sick to keep that superstar here. And you didn't. And he said enough of the right things. They're yeah, I would have signed here and I loved it here and whatever. But did you feel it? Did any of us feel it?
Xander had taken a hometown discount by the time he was a free agent already,
Yeah, no, I mean Mookie.
No, I'm saying the difference that you're talking about here is Mookie said, yeah, I would have liked to stay in Boston. Xander took millions of dollars less to stay in Boston the first time he had free agency. Mm-hmm. That's the difference. There's a reason for that feel. He was also like the vocal leader and the shortstop, and played the most games ever at shortstop for the Red Sox. And yeah, he was just that's who he was. And he's also been in the organization since he was like 16.
He also didn't have to go through Mookie didn't have to go through the tough times and be the voice during tough times. Like I guess 2019, but like that's in the grand scheme of the tough times the Boston Red Sox have been through over the past, handful of years. 2019 is not the tough years. That was the intro.
It's also usually a tough time is like a multi-year stretch, like right now, or like 14, 15, which technically he was involved in. But at that point, you're just trying to get your footing and prove you're a big leaguer. That doesn't really count. You're not the guy that has to talk for those things. You still got Ortiz at that point. But, you went into 19, you had the best offseason of your entire life, probably, like in terms of like parades and parties and championships and all that stuff. And then you go into spring training with the team exactly the same, essentially. And so you think you're going to win 100 games, 110 games, and you don't even know it's a bad season until maybe June, July, because, they got off the gate horrible, but it's like, we're the reigning champs. Like, yeah, we had a bad West Coast series to open the year. We'll go on a 7-game run, and this will all be fine. It was really only a bad few months when you realize that this 2019 team really isn't just an extension of the 18 team, and it's not one series away from just clicking and then they're good again. So you're right. I think there was really no tough times for him from a like. What was cool about his arc is they actually got better like every year from like 14 to 18.
Yeah, he just got to, and he got a bigger and bigger role. Yeah, and he got to be the guy. And then even in 19, when they were sucking, it was like most of the talk was just about trading him. I don't think people were really coming up to him being like, hey, what's going on with the struggle? I'm sure those conversations happened, whatever.
Yeah.
But the prevailing, headlines were not, Mookie Betts answers for Red Sox 6-game losing streak. It was, do you want to stay here? Are they going to trade you? Do you want to hit free agency? Like, it was none of that. Or it was all of that. So the fact that Xander was here, won for another playoff run in 21, but then also had to be the voice when things were poopy. In 2022, he felt more Boston. And I think sometimes we forget about him, one, because he's hurt right now, and because he's not making the headlines the way Mookie does. It gets thrown in your face when you see Mookie's leading the league in 12 different categories. Everybody wants to talk about how did Boston let this guy go, and they'll talk about that until 2085. But with Xander, you kind of forget a little bit. But on the big screen at Fenway, playing X Gonna Give It To You, and seeing we talked about it last week, how distinctive his motions are and how his silhouette is so fucking unique. And to see like the steps he takes out of the box or just his swing in a Red Sox uniform again, it was frustrating. It was really frustrating, more than I expected it to be. I would have brought it up last episode, if I expected those feelings to come out. I really didn't. It wasn't until I saw it that it smacked me in the mouth. I was like, wow, this sucks all over again. And you could have a long conversation about where he would fit and how he's dropped off and blah, 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 and the price tag and all that. Doesn't matter. It just still doesn't matter to me. It brought it all up for me. It pissed me off again.
That's interesting. Yeah, for me, first of all, when you were talking about like all the, him wanting to be here, you also are leaving out the fact that he literally like signed a $280 million deal to leave and was just like moping around and like on camera. People caught him on camera just being like, I guess I'll take the deal. Like he was in a bar by himself.
Paradise.
Wasn't he like by himself in a bar when just like he told a fan before he told the public? And
he was at the Suns game.
That's what, yeah. And He was just sad that he doesn't even. So that's how much he wanted to be here. He signed a $280 million deal, and it was like it ruined his day that it wasn't with
Yeah.
Boston. But yeah, I think for me, I guess I write so much and I talk about the over like how each decision impacts the greater good. And even if he had signed a 5 year, $100 million deal, we would be like, this is bad. This is really bad. Like I know he's your guy, and there's that loyalty, and I usually am much more on that side of like I don't even care. It's Xander Bogaerts. I want to root for Xander Bogaerts, and there is totally that, but it's hard for me to like be like, oh man, I'm really sad about this. We really because I don't. I think it's the right move, and I can't get over the fact that it was just the absolute right move to move on. And I was wrong. Like I when he was, I was pissed when we didn't re-sign him. Mostly pissed that you could have got him on a discount in the spring training instead of
Mm-hmm.
letting him walk. But now I'm looking at it, and even that spring training low ball deal that absolutely was a low ball deal would have been a bad contract. And was it? Did they know more about the
What
risk,
was that
or is
deal?
that just it? Well, I mean, it was somewhere in the like people were talking about like 5 6 years, 100-ish million, maybe even 120 to 150. But like generally speaking, the idea was like it would have been significantly less. Like on the absolute high end, 150, probably somewhere in the 100 to 120 range. Like six for
Mm-hmm.
120, five for 100. That was speculation. Is that was what it would have taken had they done it in spring training instead of not really trying in spring training, and then lowballing the shit out of him and then letting him get 280 in free agency. But I don't know, maybe they knew more about the wrist. I think it was probably them just being cheap, and I'm giving them too much credit. But I can't be too upset about the Xander stuff because I mean, even if he had signed a 2 year, $20 million deal, I don't know necessarily. No, he was solid last year, but like 2 years, 40 million would have been like that wasn't probably our best deal. If he was a free agent this offseason, what would you want him to do?
If he was a free agent this offseason?
Yeah, like this winter, the Red Sox could acquire him hypothetically. Would you want them to do that?
Well, I don't think that's the same thing. I think there's just something to be said about what it did for the perception of the organization.
Okay,
I
if
just
you
don't
could
think
go
it ever
back.
should have happened. Like putting your fans through that again. I think that's what I'm upset about more than anything.
Okay.
Like I
Well,
know that there's been a fall off. I'm in no world have I ever said that the Red Sox should have given him 11 years, $280 million.
no one thought
Or
that. We all knew
no,
that was dumb. But what about
yeah,
5/150? If you could go back and make him sign it,
yeah,
you would still want him to do that?
yeah,
Oh,
because they can do that. They can do that.
yeah, but then you're in luxury tax. You don't get to reset the luxury tax last year.
They this year have $24 million of space below the luxury tax. So they would be what,
But
six
last
over?
year they wouldn't have gotten under, which means they would have had to reset it this. Well, I guess they did reset it this year, but it's still
Yeah.
that still would be now you're losing 6 million. So you're talking about losing a few players. Maybe you don't ever sign, and now I guess like Giolito was the big signing, so maybe that kind of
Oh no.
works out. But
Yeah,
whatever,
then
we're
you'd
getting
be
down a
without
weird path.
Giolito. Yeah.
We're going down a weird path, but it's just I don't know.
And then you have
I
another
don't want this to
infielder. I
sound.
don't know. I don't know.
I love Bogarts. I wish he retired in Boston. I hope he dominates the next 9 years of his contract, which is it seems like he's on his last. That's insane.
Yeah.
But boy, I don't know. I love him. I guess I've just moved on easier than I did with Mookie. I was also younger, and maybe that was why
You were younger when
with the
Mookie,
Mookie
you mean?
stuff. I feel like
How old were you when Mookie got traded?
it was only I mean what 2 years. I was still in college. I was It was my junior year. I actually remember exactly where I was. It was in my dorm room. Not
Mm-hmm.
dorm, whatever it's called. It was housing, college
Yeah.
housing. I was in my like sitting at my desk. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Junior year of college to a year or so removed from college. I feel like there's a lot of like emotional development where it didn't hit quite as hard.
I guess.
I also talk about the team every day, and I think that honestly is probably better. The majority of it. It's just that it's become partly more work for me than fandom, which we've talked about before.
Yeah. I don't think I'll ever get there. I don't think it's possible. I don't want it to.
I'm with you. I wish it was that way.
If you want to turn your fandom into work, you can do that by making your money work for you over at PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports, and unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the PrizePicks community today. If you're looking for promotions, PrizePicks has got you covered. From lowering select players' stats projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. PrizePicks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Let me tell you this, there's a couple of players on the old Bo Sox right now who are in the middle of some hot streaks. Not a bad idea to put together, I don't know, Jarren Duran, maybe Connor Wong. Put a couple of those guys together, maybe see what happens. That's all I'm saying. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. All right, Scott, you got some thoughts because it's time to empty your brain of thoughts with Joey and Scott. Empty that brain of yours, dude. What do you got?
I thought TC was pretty good in the booth. See, we already did that, but that was my thought. That was what I had for this segment.
That was what you got. TC was good. TC's good.
Rafaela catch the home runs. He brought the energy when it was required upon him, which is the bare minimum, but we haven't had that in a while.
The play it short, too. My God. The play it short. Yeah, where the move to his left. Oh, my goodness gracious.
So, liked it. We should do more of the energy in the booth.
For sure. We didn't talk about the Monster game last series when they were on the Monster. I don't really get the appeal of them doing the show on the Monster if you're not going to show them a lot. I feel like they didn't show them enough. Whatever.
I don't think it would have been appealing either way. I think it's a cool thing for them, but I don't think it adds anything to the broadcast. In fact, Dave O'Brien was pretty transparent about how it makes it significantly harder to broadcast the game, and that he spent the first inning being like, hey, just so you know, I'm going to suck even more today because I can't even see if a ball goes up in the air. I don't know if it's a pop-up, a home run, or behind the plate, a foul ball. So, yeah, I don't think it does anything for the viewers. I think it's just like fun for them. And I think because it's the people at Nesson being like, let's do a game on the Monster, all of the people involved in that production probably get excited about the idea of that. It is cooler for them. But yeah, I don't know if it does much for the fans.
Unless you had a side camera, like they do with the Jared broadcast now, like to have like a side cam of them on the Monster. But then even then, it's like,
but that just distracts. Them. Yeah, they're not doing anything on the Monster. So I don't think that was the missing piece. I just think it was just, I don't know. What I did like about it was that it was the Celtics parade day and there were interviews and stuff. That was cool. Like it did feel like they made it into like a bigger, like a holiday type of thing or like a playoff game or something. But that was more coincidental than anything, I think. I mean, the interviews definitely not, but I don't know. They did some cool stuff. That was a great game. One of the most fun experiences ever because that was the comeback win that we, for some reason, didn't really talk about last week. But that was probably the best game of the season. But I don't know if that was why.
Yeah, that did kind of get lost on us. This in everything that we talked about last show.
Yeah,
didn't really give that game its love as much as we could.
I don't know if we did it at all. I was thinking of it actively while we were recording, but it just never really fit any spot that we picked. We talked about reality TV plenty.
That we did. I started Love Island this week because of our conversation.
Well, I know that there was some external pressure to start that over the Netflix ones, but I'm telling you, you got to get to the Netflix ones.
Well, I don't have Netflix.
That is surprising.
Why is that surprising?
I feel like most everybody. I don't know if I know anybody that doesn't have Netflix.
I feel like when the price went up, everybody got out because, like, well, I don't know. What do I need to? I don't know. It's one of those like, what do I need it for? Things now,
like TV, and they have some good shows.
They got movies on there.
They got movies. They got Netflix originals. Now they have games for some reason.
Dude, do you remember a couple years ago they had that episode of Black Mirror where you could like choose your own adventure?
Nope. Never seen it.
They had an episode of Black Mirror where you could like choose your own adventure. So like you choose whether, the guy goes into the room or if he fucking looks at his phone or whatever. I don't know. And it didn't really work too great. It was what was it called? Banderdash, I think it was what it was called.
They're trying to add games on there for some reason. And
what does that mean?
I'll tell like you can. I've never clicked on them, but like now you'll see like top 10 movies, top 10 shows, and then they'll just be like computer games you would play when you were in school, like Cool Math type games. Like if you remember, like Cool Math and like Mini Clip and what like those type of games. Like you want to hear a throwback. Balloons Tower Defense. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So I found this out by accident on my phone. You can sign Balloons Tower Defense 6 is like a $5 app, which I could be a millionaire. I will never pay for an app. But you can for some reason sign into your Netflix pass account and get in for free. And so me and Steve would just play. You can play co-op on your phones, and we'd just get like if there was like while we were watching a Celtics game or something, we'd just play co-op Balloons Tower Defense on our phone. And we got too good at it. It got boring. Like it would make it to around like 200, and it would just like break our phones.
Wait, so is this only on the app?
Well, it looks like you can click on it in the games, but when I'm on Netflix, I'm never like, what to watch? Oh, actually, no, I'm gonna play a tower defense game instead.
I'm saying like on your TV. Like, could you do it on the TV?
I don't. I guess not. So I only do it on the computer because for some reason on our TV it knows that me and Steve admittedly we don't have our own Netflixes. We just both of our families do.
What
so we
the
sign
fuck? You were just giving me shit for not having a Netflix.
Well, no, but I mean like why you should have a Netflix because somebody should have like your parents, someone. Everyone has a share.
Well, they cracked down on the password sharing thing.
So that wasn't the case until literally this month for us. So now I don't know the answer to your question about the TV. I can still log on my laptop, can't on the TV. Don't know why. Also, Steve's account has gotten figured out. We haven't tried mine yet, so we might be okay, but we're too lazy to switch.
Well, good luck to you.
So those are my thoughts. I didn't expect those to be emptying my thoughts, but there we are.
Well, thank you for sharing those. And if you want to share your thoughts, you can follow us on the socials at Joey Copponi.
Wait, why are you wrapping up?
Just because it's been like an hour, and we've talked about the Sox, talked about the series. No, series MVP we only do when they win the series. They lost the series.
Well, we'll pick a Padre, obviously.
No, I actually hate that idea.
All right, fine. Then I guess we'll just jump into the pitching preview.
Folks, it is 3 games against the Miami literal Marlins. Game 1 is going to be Valente Bellozo versus Cutter Crawford. Valente Bellozo is this guy's name. He has made 1 major league start, 5 shutout innings against the Royals. He is fine. 39 Ks and 31 in the third, AA innings. Cutter Crawford finishes June with a 4.44 ERA across 4 starts in the month. A 5.90 FIP. Oof. Cutter's ERA first touched 2 on May 13th against the Rays. 8 starts prior to that, 8 starts since. His first 8 starts of the year landed him with an ERA of 1.75. And the 8 since, his ERA, 5.44. Game 2 2 is going to be Trevor Rogers versus Brian Bello. Trevor Rogers has consistently sucked. He has allowed 4 or more runs 5 times this year. He did not pitch 6 innings into a start until June. 1.78 Ks per walk. Bad. Brian Bello, Brian the beautiful Brian, also bad. He's made 14 starts this year. The first 7, 3.96 ERA, 2.29 batting average against. The 7 since, a 7.20 ERA, 3.10 average against. That is so bad. That is so bad. Game 3 is going to be Kyle Tyler versus Nick Pivetta. Kyle Tyler has 2 first names. He also has 2 major league starts, 4 innings and 4 2/3. He throws his cutter 47% of the time. It's getting hit at a 352 clip. His curve and his slider are better. He's whatever. Nick Pivetta is Canadian, coming into the first start of the year following Canada Day. Last year, his first outing after Canada Day was 4 innings out of the bullpen against Toronto, where he allowed 2 hits and 1 run. In 2021, his first start after Canada Day was 7 scoreless innings against Oakland. Could we see another Nick Pivetta Canada Day gem? Dude's Canadian. And that is going to do it for your pitching preview. Scott, they got to sweep, brother. They got to sweep it. They got to sweep it. I'm going to call it. These guys all suck balls. They've got to beat all of these guys. These guys all suck. This needs to be a bounce back for all of these guys. I don't know how much you pay attention during the pitching preview, Scott. So, just as a little
locked in.
I know you're locked in the whole time.
Yeah.
Every single one of these guys, Cutter Crawford, Brian Bello, Nick Pivetta, incredibly different first and second halves of the first half. Everybody
all trending down.
All trending big down.
But you think sweep?
I think they need it.
Oh, well, they've needed a lot of things that they've not received since 2020.
But this is different.
Why?
But I believe in them now because they're good sometimes.
They are good sometimes, but those times were in June.
Yeah. And what month is it right now?
This series starts in July.
What month is it right now?
June. So they're going to have a really good day tomorrow.
Off day?
Right.
Yeah. They're going to have a great off day.
Yeah.
I am actually bummed that they couldn't win this series so that they could say they didn't lose a series in June. That kind of stuff.
That would have been cool. Yeah, that would have been a cool way to go about it. And, yeah, I don't know. I feel I'd love to say sweep, and I do kind of feel a sweep that just feels – when was the last time? I don't know. Sweeps just don't seem realistic, if that's crazy, even though they did it, not very recently. But I don't know, because the first guy, what's his name again?
Belozo, Valente Belozo.
Blows, the guy Blows, whatever.
Yeah.
This guy Blows is his own last name, but he was bad in Double A, 4.6 ERA, worse in Triple A, 5.66, I think. And then he was awesome in his debut. Not too worried about it, though. So he's bad in Double A and Triple A. So you think you got him. Rogers is supposed to be good. Rogers is supposed to be good, but he's not this year. So that one's confusing. And then the other guy I know nothing about. Sounds like a creative player.
Kyle Tyler?
Yeah.
2 major league starts.
3.38 though. We're facing a guy with a 0 ERA and a guy with a 3.38 ERA in the same series, and you're confident you got a sweep.
I like that you're framing a 3.38 like that's crazy. Like, God, they're facing a guy with a 3.38 ERA.
Good. That's better than what they're facing, probably. Who's going that? Yeah.
Against them?
So, yeah. Houck's the only one. Right. Houck's the only one that has a better ERA than that. So.
I still believe Pivetta can have a strong season, even with the.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'll go sweep, but I don't really. They also can't really hit, so you combine those factors. That should work. I just don't. It feels like the Red Sox are starting to do that thing where they mellow out again, and that's. I feel like I don't feel as confident in them playing good ball as I did a week ago.
It's one series. I mean, a series and a half because like they didn't finish the last series.
Yeah,
but it's one series. I'm trying to remind myself of that. Like we're high up on them. They're still 5 games over, and they got a bad team coming up. Need the sweep. One last little stat here that I did mean to do in emptying my brain of thoughts with Joey and Scott.
you missed it, so save it for next episode.
Well, this is my closing thought then. That's why we have that segment. It's a fail-safe.
Yep.
Rafael Devers. This is courtesy of Sox Notes, JP Long. Shout out, Justin. Rafael Devers, 14 home runs since May 15th. His most ever in a 40-game span. How does Devers do like record-breaking things, personal best record-breaking things, and not ever feel like he's doing it?
It's a good question because that caught me off guard a little bit. I feel like there's been times where he's been hotter. I gotta say something that maybe I'm just not appreciative of him more than ever, and maybe it's just a lack of RBI. I'd like to know if this is his lowest RBI total by this point in the year, but I've never noticed him less than I have this year. Other than that,
that's not a bad point. That's really not a bad point.
There was that 1 week. There was that 1 week that I'm sure bolstered those numbers that you just said, where what was it, 6 games in a row? He hit a home run? 7 in 6 games, I think it was.
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
But yeah, I just feel like I haven't felt the presence of Rafael Devers in quite some time. There haven't been I don't know how we're scoring runs because it seems like everyone on our team has like 20 RBIs, but we have like a statistically good offense.
So let's see this. I want to test your theory. So he has played in 69 games this year, and he has 43 RBI.
Yeah.
Last year, through 69 games, this is excluding maybe the last 2 games, so excuse that. He had 57 in 2023. In 2022, he had 44. And 2021 is certainly going to be more. He had a whopping 58. So it's down. It's a down year or RBI-wise, I guess. RBI-wise, I guess. But I do get what you're saying. Like in a lineup where you went into the year thinking it was maybe going to be a little thin and you really need Devers to be the guy. He has, but in a very quiet way.
Well, I think it comes down to a little bit of the Tyler O'Neill effect, I'm going to call it, which is like 16 homers, 28 RBIs. And it's like, how on earth is that possible? Because it also feels like we get a decent amount of traffic, and it doesn't feel like we leave a ton of guys in scoring position, but it's just like, I don't know. It's. I know we are toward the top of the league in like solo home runs versus like multiple people on base. It just feels like a weird thing going on this year where you're not seeing like Devers 3-run blast that really like swings a game. Like it's 4-4 and then he hits one. It's 7-4 in the 7th inning and you're like, holy like that was like a memorable moment. Mm-hmm. He's doing great. I again don't want to. He's a sweet baby boy, as everyone says. I just feel like I haven't had like the oh man, Devers is coming up here.
Yeah,
because it feels like
that's been the case for a couple of years where it doesn't. It never feels like oh shit, Devers is due up. Look out! And like especially in clutch moments, I don't know what that is, but he's just such a good hitter, and it's very rarely the clutch moments.
I feel like we don't even have, again, maybe this is just an insane take, but I feel like there aren't as many like close games this year as usual either. Like I don't remember the one come from behind win I can remember now is the Blue Jays situation.
I think there's been a few because they grab me when they come along.
Yeah. Well, the Blue Jays, Excuse me?
They grab me when they come along?
Okay. And then they've had one 4-run. They've overcome one 4-run deficit in this year. I know that's a stat that's real, and so I don't know. Maybe I'm just tripping, but it just feels like I haven't noticed Devers as much as usual, and he's been statistically fantastic again. I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Well, 3 walk-off bombs coming from Rafael Devers this series in Miami. So
can you imagine
if he hit 3 walk-offs on the road?
Well, no, imagine having that clip. Oh, I didn't even think of it on the road.
He can't do it. He can't do it.
Right. Yeah, it would be hard. It would definitely be hard to do. Hit a walk-off away.
Got faith in him. Got faith in our baby boy. Carita. Un niño poquito. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thank you to Prize Picks. Thank you to Game Time. Go use code CLNS on those apps. Save yourself a buck. You can follow us on the socials. Yeah, no, like $20 on Game Time.
Mm-hmm.
Terms apply. First purchase. And on Prize Picks, up to $100 deposit match. So you put in $100, they'll put in $100 in your account for you. So do that. And they got all sorts of deals going on Prize Picks. They got all sorts of little rewards and what's the phrase? Little promotions and stuff going on all the time. So go check out Prize Picks. You can follow us on the socials at ITM_pod. You can follow me at Joe Copponi. You can follow him at Scott Neville 46. Just like, oh Lord, who else is a 46?
Ryan Dempster.
For Scott Neville, I'm Joey Copponi. Go Sox. Keep.